Well then, good evening everybody, welcome back to TTL F1. You are here for the Season 13 Challenge Cup. 2 races tonight, 1 shot qualifying in both of them and 2 25% races. We are going to be at the Canadian Grand Prix and then in the Austrian Grand Prix as well. All in one beautiful long stream. And my name is Kieran McGinley, thank you very much for joining me along with this one. Tej is supposed to be here tonight, hopefully he'll be along later on. But obviously, we're still in the Season 13 cars, not the Season 14 ones yet. And if you like, this is our last chance for drivers to say farewell to their teams, as most of them actually move on to their new teams next season on the new game. So we have this tonight, and then, correct me if I'm wrong then, nothing happening on Thursday. That's the first Thursday I've had off in a while. Well, I say that actually. I do this part time, don't I? Part timer over here. But yeah, Andy has been busy elsewhere, and Tej has joined me along with that one. So we've been a strong commentary team. Obviously, we've got Alan Kay joining us for TTG F2, I believe, in the commentary box, along with Jack as well. So lots of opportunities going out whilst me and Tej go racing. That should be pretty interesting. Hopefully you're looking forward to that one. I'm very nervous. Obviously I'm on the G29, the Logitech, and just trying to do some laps around Belgium is extremely frustrating because I can never get it right. Never get it right. Anyway, enough about that. We're here for the Challenge Cup tonight, which, as I said, takes place at 2 tracks. First, at the Montreal circuit, de Gilles Villeneuve, in a man-made island. That was difficult to say. Anyway, we got it out somehow. But yes, that's where we'll be racing tonight. And as well as that, the Austrian Grand Prix. 2 25% races at those tracks. And then the drivers with the most points at the end win. It's as simple as that. So I will try and keep you up to date with the points as we go. Won't be too easy though, so you'll have to bear with me on that one. There's a reason Alan's here tonight, and that's to keep a track of everything. So I will try and take some screenshots as and when we go, and hopefully this will make for some good watching as well. In terms of penalties, obviously that'll be done after the race, I think. There'll be a whole dedicated post to that, I think, but we shall wait and see. May say commentators bank holiday on Thursday. Whew. Spike in the chat saying ice cream. Yeah, we needed some today, don't we? And Recon says vanilla ice scream. Well, thank you very much for watching. That's bad, Recon. That's as bad as me. No one can get as bad as me, Recon. That's not happening. Alan K in the chat saying, evening everybody. Good evening to you, Mr. Alan K. Last outing in the Renault, I believe, before he heads back to Alfa Romeo Sauber for the next season. Of course, it's back to Alfa Romeo, bringing that famous name back to F1. First time since the late 50s, I believe, since Alfa Romeo were racing. And the last team that sort of came back from the 50s, Mercedes, they rather did quite well after 6 or 7 seasons. Can't be accurate on that one though. No idea. I am trying to get both the map and the and the chat on my phone up, but my chat on my phone is not. It's not working. It's just not loading. So I'm down to one screen, and that's the map, and then the. Yeah, this isn't going to end well. Is there a way I can? Oh, there's a way I can pop out the chat. Oh yes, yes please, I'll do that. Oh, this is all new to me. Yay! Right, anyway, we're going to change the thumbnail anyway. Let us know who you're backing to win the Challenge Cup tonight. It is a piece of silverware. You go onto the honours list forever. We've seen plenty of people win the Challenge Cup and actually have good momentum into the new season. I wonder if I can find the honours list. Oh, this is going to be interesting. You know, the one thing I didn't say was the honours list. Yes. Oh, that's annoying. Anyway, it won't be too far away, I don't think. But yeah, let us know in the comments below who you're hoping to win this one. Should be a very good one. As I just try and look through here. I know the season 13 winners. I don't need to know that. Jack dominated that one, didn't he? And he'll be joined with Spike at the Mercedes next season, so that should be pretty interesting. The two of them have, well, basically won the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championship pretty solidly, actually, with Spike grabbing the runners-up spot on the final night after Jack's wheel problems. But it was good to see him back, and we shall see what we can do for tonight then. And there is the infamous Wall of Champions, which claimed 3 champions in one race. Can you name all 3 of them? That should be an interesting one. There's 2 off the bat, so that's very easy, but there's one more champion that people seem to forget. First person to put all 3 in the comments, I don't know, win a medal or something? I don't know. Sure, why not? Recon asking, is it a 25% race? Yes, Recon, and they're both 25% tonight. So let's hope we can have some good quick, clean racing. Of course, whoever gets the most points after those 2 races, well, will win that trophy, and their names will be forever on the honours list. But here we are then, 1-shot qualifying, so you get 1 chance, and that's it. So, here we are then, for qualifying as we get those setups ready. And it takes some nerve, 1-shot qualifying, because the track itself doesn't really rubber in. All the drivers going for the hypersoft tyres, it looks like. And the track, yeah, doesn't really rubber in too well, especially on 1-shot. So there are some parts of the circuit that won't actually be too grippy. So drivers will have to be careful out there. We won't see the fastest lap times possible, but we'll see close to. And we shall see what we can do from here. Let's see now how we can approach this one. Who do we ride on board with? Well, we're riding on board with Graham then as he makes his way towards the line. Obviously, only 1 car on the track, they're all ghost cars, so it's very tricky to keep up with it. We'll ride on board with S. Graham then as we head through turn 2 with him. He's on the top then as we head out towards turn 3 and 4. This downhill chicane, very easy to lock up here. Watch out for the wall on the right hand side. It's caught many drivers out in the past as we fly now to the right hand of turn 5 and on our way to the chicane towards turn 6 and 7. Again, very tricky this corner, and turn 8 especially very harsh on the rear tyres, especially with the ballast in the wrong place. Now making our way down the short DRS straight, down towards the chicanes of turns 9 and 10, watching those sleeping policemen on the inside there as we make our way towards the place where Robert Kubica had his massive crash back in 2008 as we head away down towards the hairpin now of turn 11, turning the car in tight, full lock as much as you can, and now it's going down towards the final DRS straight. Hot lap mode 5 as we make our way down towards that Wall of Champions chicane. You have to be very careful. Using the curbs here can really catch you off guard and invalidate your lap time if you're not careful. Here comes S. Graham then towards the line. Looks like he's 7th place for now, and it is going to be Spike grabbing pole position with a 109.1. So the Mercedes driver then grabbing pole position and hoping to keep that momentum going into next season. So let's bring you the qualifying results then from the first round of the Challenge Cup, and they'll appear on your screen any second now. There you are, it's Spike on pole position on the ultra soft tyres, Lighty in second on the hypersofts 109.2, then it's Recon in third, Mason fourth, Sean fifth, Crazy Legs in sixth, Graham in seventh, Plaster in eighth, Alan Kay in ninth, George Roberts rounds out the top 10, then it's Uzi and Siege who were disqualified from the 1-shot qualifying, presumably because they cut the circuit at some point, therefore invalidated their lap time. Now I really am trying to share this link to Twitter, but my phone's just not having it at all. It's just not behaving. Anyway, I'll do my best, but we make our way now towards the Canadian Grand Prix. So then, round 1 of the Challenge Cup. Should be a pretty interesting one. Obviously, drivers know that there is that trophy on the line, and they have a chance here to grab themselves a spot on the honours list for all time, as Spike leading Lighty by just over 1/10 of a second. But remember, Spike qualified on those ultra soft tyres. Remember, you have the Hypersofts, the Ultra Softs and the Super Softs here for the Canadian Grand Prix. And if I'm not mistaken, you have that around the Austrian Grand Prix. No, you don't. You have... No, you don't have the Ultra Softs at Austria. Ultra Softs Austria would be a nightmare. Or Hypersofts, sorry. So you have the Ultra Softs, Super Softs and the Softs Austria. But there we go then. Lighting up those rear tyres as we make their way now down towards turn 1. Should be a good one, this one. Siege starting all the way at the back, and I know about racing Siege in a Challenge Cup. We raced together in a TTFL Challenge Cup at the end of season, was it season 1 or season 2? I had a chance of grabbing a podium at Baku, but no, not to be. That was a 100% race. Imagine going through the castle section 50 odd times. It was a nightmare, but Siege beat me towards the line. Wasn't by much, but it denied me a chance to grab a medal at least. But yeah, I have no hard feelings. He starts at the back of the grid then. 18 laps here at the Canadian Grand Prix, as Spike well, Lighty actually is in no hurry to get his way to the start line. Spike, meanwhile, is really on it. He's already at the hairpin. Lighty is still making his way down towards the hairpin now. Not even in the braking zone just yet, but the Force India driver, it looks like tonight might be his last outing at TTL F1. He's not on the season 14 list, and let's hope this isn't the last we see of Lighty. He's a talented driver, and he's improving every single season as he makes his way now down towards the chicane. But Spike making his way now around the final corner and towards the grid now. And of course, TTL F1 is brought to you by weakwifi-solutions.com. You can find all their solutions to your slow bandwidth and to your lag on their website, weakwifi-solutions.com. They are also sponsoring the Driver of the Day award, which will be counted over 2 rounds, not just the one. And it's also brought to you by A-Logo, who kindly provide all the graphics for the league. You can check them out on their Twitter account at A-Logo UK. We're almost ready to go then here for the first part of the Challenge Cup here at the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal on a man-made track on a man-made island. But we're almost ready to go here as we ride on board for those 5 red lights. Round 1 is underway, and one of the starts looks like it's a good start from Lighty, but can he try and get up the inside now of the Mercedes as they now head towards turn 1? That's a Ferrari off in the background that looked like Graham there, and it was Crazy Legs on the outside there in trouble. He's now on the infield of turn 1 as they now make their way through and towards turns 3 and 4, that downhill chicane. You've got Blaster here on the back of Graham. Bit of a rivalry between these two as they now make their way now down towards turn 5 and 6 as Blaster goes straight up the inside in that Ferrari, and he makes the move stick as well. Oh, that's Graham over the top of the Toro Rosso there, and that is him all the way around. Meanwhile, Yuzi then trying to now go round the outside of Siege, or is that Siege going up the inside? I think it was the other way around. Siege then making his way up to 7th place. Good start from him then. He started, remember, in 12th place. They're making their way now through the hairpin as we now make our way towards that Wall of Champions chicane. It is Spike who leads, Lighty 2nd, Recon 3rd, Sean 4th, Mason 5th, Blaster 6th, Siege in 7th, Yuzi 8th, George Roberts 9th, Crazy 10th, Alan Kay in 11th, and S. Graham, who found himself airborne at one point, rounds off the top 12, as that is Recon there tapping the Wall of Champions there. Spike then completes the first lap in the lead as Lighty sets the fastest lap of the race. That's a bit of an odd one. Yuzi then comes into the pits, and remember, it's a 25% race, so we're only really expecting 1 stop. Riding on board now with the German as we make our way towards turns 3 and 4. Downhill now, watching that wall on the right hand side, flying now through turn 5 on the way towards turn 6 and 7 through the chicane here. And at the moment then Lighty is looking to put that pressure on. Spike then is looking to try and use those Hypersofts maybe to the end of the race. Now making our way towards turns 9 and 10, I believe this is. Braking now towards that quick chicane as they make their way now towards the hairpin. And we look at this now side by side. Recon has found the way. He's got to go around the outside though. Lighty is up the inside at the hairpin. And as they make their way now out on the exit, they're still side by side. Look at Sean in the background as well, who's looking to try and take advantage of this one. He's now in the slipstream of both cars as they make their way down towards the chicane at the Wall of Champions. It's turn 13 and 14 according to the map, but Lighty's got the inside line. Sean is not going to go side by side through the Wall of Champions. Somehow they both make it through. That's a rarity in itself. But look at Sean now, looking to try and take advantage of this as both cars get compromised on the exit. Sean looking up the inside, trying to make it 3 wide, but thinks better of it. There's Recon then having to go around the outside. Lighty trying to slam the door, but he's got to watch out from Sean then as well as they now make their way towards that chicane, turns 3 and 4. Lighty just about holding on. Sean then goes up a position. He gets past Recon in all that melee then, and look at Maze in 5th place there, looking on to this battle as they all now make their way towards turn 6 and 7. And that Williams there, looking to try and make the charge on the Force India. Couldn't quite make it stick though, and he now finds himself behind the Haas of Sean as they now make their way down towards turns 8 and 9. Lighty then will be breathing a huge sigh of relief. Here's the Siege then, riding on board with him as he chases down Plaster. This is for 6th place. Of course, all these points count, remember. Usually, whilst that battling is going on, is our first retirement of the race. Siege then has to go the long way round at the hairpin and look to try and get the exit. Meanwhile, we're running on board with Recon. Of course, DRS is online as I get rid of all the UI for some reason. Heading now down towards that Wall of Champions chicane. Recon defending the inside line against Sean, and it's worked this time, but Sean tries to get a cut back here. He's got the DRS as well, as Sean here tries to go for 3rd place on the run now, down towards turn 1. He's got the inside line, but that's going to switch around for turn 2, as look at that then, the Williams of Recon doing his best to try and shut the door. Look at Sean though, he's got better traction on the exit of turn 2 as they run towards turns 3 and 4. Sean has the inside, which will then become the outside. A little bit of contact between the two of them there. Recon just understeering into Sean. I'm sure that wasn't intentional as they now head down towards turns 6 and 7. Watch the traction here through turn 7. It can really catch you off guard, especially if those tyres are worn to shreds towards the end of your stint. And Spike gets a 3-second time penalty. So that is not good for him and his chances of trying to win today. Of course, Lighty's 2.3 behind. He won't be too worried about that right now. But of course, those penalties, they will add up. And it will only take a matter of time here before that could be the case. Sean then, still chasing Recon down this long straight towards turns 13 and 14. Can Sean do anything with this? Down towards the Wall of Champions chicane. And it looks like he's just going to stay behind for now, looking to collect those curves as cleanly as he possibly can. Getting a little bit sideways out of the exit of turn 14. On the run now, down towards turn 1. Sean, though, staying behind and sticking to what he knows. Maze, meanwhile, on those hypersoft tyres, looking to try and take advantage of the battle up ahead of them. Meanwhile, then, Alan Kay is in 9th place, trying to chase down Alan Kay ahead of him. Graham has made his way past George Roberts. So Graham now up into the points. As we now make our way now down towards turn 6 and then through turn 7. Through the DRS zone we go, and coming now down towards turns 8 and 9. Sean still looking to put that pressure on Recon as they all file their way through, and now down towards turn 10 the hairpin is. The Haas then still looking to put that pressure on Recon. Recon's run very deep into the hairpin, but that's probably to try and prioritise his exit as they now make their way down towards the Wall of Champions chicane. Can Recon find a way past? Surely he's not going to try it in the chicane, but you see there he was trail braking on the throttle and the brake at exactly the same time. Bit of an odd one, that one, but Sean, look at this. He looks like he's got a good run down towards turn 1. Will he try and move? He will, up the inside. A little bit of contact between the two of them, and Recon goes straight on. He had nowhere else to go. And I wonder here, yep, he loses 2 positions there. I wonder what the Haas is going to make of that. I know Recon will be fuming under that lid of his, but now he finds himself behind Maze. And I wonder if things don't go his way, he might make his way straight to the steward's office after this race. In the meantime, though, he's still got to focus almost a third of the way through this race. It's short and it's sharp, so you can't afford to get those instants into your head. You've just got to keep focused and keep pushing. Recon then, remember, on the hypersoft tyres, has lost that advantage he had to Maze and to Sean there. You can see then race leader Spike leading by 2.7 seconds. Remember, he's on the ultra soft tyres compared to Lighty, who's on the hypersofts. As they now make their way down towards that last chicane. Recon has the DRS and he's slowly closing in on Mays as George Roberts now is out of the race as Recon dives into the pits then. Where is George Roberts gone off? It looks like Crazy Legs. Oh, George Roberts has got it wrong out of turn 9. And that looks like he's lit up the rear tyres there. And that is George Roberts done for race 1. He will, of course, be back for race 2. Meanwhile, then, that is Mays then we're seeing. Graham gets a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. So Lighty, Recon, Plaster and Graham all coming into the pit lane to change off of their Hypersofts and now onto a set of Ultrasofts, which should take them to the end of the race then. Mays here has got to try and close this gap now. He's on those Hypersoft tyres. Sean is on the Ultrasoft. So Mays here, if you like, has a kind of disadvantage. His tyres are going to wear away a lot quicker than Sean's. As they head the way down towards the hairpin. See here the battle behind Alan Kay and Lighty. Lighty going around the outside of Alan Kay. Oh, as he taps the wall. Oh no, he understeered straight into it and has got a front wing end plate off. He'll be furious with himself for that one. Alan Kay was not willing to battle him, but now they head their way down towards the chicane. And Lighty chooses to stay out. Meanwhile, Alan Kay comes in. So that's going to be annoying for Alan Kay. He'll have to double stack behind Mays. Will the team get that one right, I wonder? Are they ready for Alan Kay as he comes into the pits? And there's a little bit of a delay. They get the job done and away Alan Kay goes. So there is Spike then, race leader for race number 1 as he gets a little bit sideways on the exit of 9 there. Heart rate must have gone up a little bit there. But at the moment, we have ourselves an interesting battle then. We have 11 laps to go, or almost 10 if you're picky. We make our way now down towards the chicane. With Spike then, as he makes his way on towards lap number 9. Meanwhile then, Recon, who's behind Lighty, is looking to try and chase him down. Now remember, Lighty has that front wing damage on the left-hand side of his front wing. So he'll have to be careful as they now make their way down towards the chicane. Recon here will have a little bit more downforce. Oh, will he now? As he taps the wall of champions. That's the second time he's done that this race. Lucky not to lose any tyre there as he sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.4. That is the A-Logo fastest lap of the race. Meanwhile then, Crazy Legs is looking to do a job on Graham as they both head now towards the chicane. Crazy Legs, the 2-time champion, making his way now through the Wall of Champions section in the slipstream of Graham as we now head our way down towards turn 1. Graham going to the inside as he looks to try and block off that line. He's ready to battle Crazy as they make their way now through that long right handle of turn 2. Up the hill we go and then towards turn 3, downhill towards turn 4. And the Ferrari driver is very, very close to him. Graham here looking to try and put up a battle. Crazy Legs wanted to try and find another way around. Wasn't going to happen though. And meanwhile, Spike comes into the pits from the race lead. And on will go a set of Hypersoft tyres and away he goes. So Sean then will take the race lead on those Ultrasoft tyres. 3 podiums in the TTL F1 season. He'll be very, very happy with that. He's got himself a really decent drive as well. Crazy Legs right on the back of Graham. Oh, that's Crazy going around at the hairpin on the exit. Too heavy on that right foot, and he's he's half spun there. Not a full spin, not a full 360, that's for sure. There's a little bit of a half spin there from Crazy, and he'll just find himself further down the field. Meanwhile then, Recon making his way now through turns 6 and 7, riding on board now as he tries to chase down Lighty. Remember, Lighty has that front wing damage as they now make their way towards this far chicane of 8 and 9. This is where Lighty's going to struggle through these high-speed chicanes as they both now make their way towards the hairpin of turn 10. Braking hard now for the slowest part of the circuit, and Recon there is right on the Force India's tail as they now make their way down this long straight towards turns 13 and 14. DRS wide open for Recon. Sean comes into the pits from the race lead. Meanwhile, Recon is closing on the Force India. Lighty covers off the inside, and they smartly decide to go single file through the chicane. But meanwhile, Recon has got a good run. Down towards turn 1 they go. Lighty defends the inside line. Recon willing to go around the outside. He's overcooked it though, and again goes straight on at the chicane. And that's going to be hugely annoying there. Just left his braking too late there, did Recon. And Lighty then holds on to that position. That's going to be infuriating Recon. That's not the first time that's happened to him today, where he's had to go straight on at turn 1. But the way he rejoins though, sometimes you see some drivers take it too fast and then get themselves a 10-second time penalty. Well, Recon there, timed it to perfection. He's probably got warnings for both those times, so he has to be careful now for the rest of this race. He doesn't want his race to sort of bombarded by penalties. There's Sean then, who goes up the inside of Mays. And Mays then, oh, he wanted to shut that door. So here comes Siege then going around the outside, which will become the inside for turn 10, down at the hairpin. Siege up the inside he goes, and can he get the better traction? Mays is not giving up on this battle though, as they now head their way down towards the chicane. Will they both have DRS, I wonder? No, only Siege does. So Mays then has that DRS disadvantage where he doesn't get to open it, and Siege then gets his way up to 5th place. But look at this, Mays has got a much better run through that final chicane than Siege does. He's now around the outside, but this again will become the inside line for turn 1, but Mays doesn't decide to go for it. And there you go then, Siege holds on to 5th place for now, and Mays there battling away with Sean. What's their contact there going into turns 8 and 9, I wonder? We cut to it quite late, that's the only problem. But 7 laps to go then, Spike still leads this one. You're watching then the battle for 2nd place as Recon wants to score as many points as possible today. They all do. Points lead prizes, of course. Lighty trying to just stick his way through turn 9. Of course, he's got that damaged front wing. He's going to have less aero as they now make their way towards turn 10. In towards the hairpin they go. And that is the Williams very close now onto the back of that Force India. In the slipstream we go then. On board with Recon as he makes his way in towards the DRS zone. Closing on Lighty. They're going to go side by side now. Surely not going to stay side by side. Down towards the chicane. Recon covers off the racing line, and that's Lighty coming in. And Recon does get himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So Lighty into the pits. He's had enough of that front wing. Sean then goes up to 3rd. Siege then up to 4th place. It's been a really good race for him so far. It's not over yet, of course. We still have 6 laps of this race to go. There is your race leader, Spike, making his way now down towards turns 5 and 6. Oh, sorry, 6 and 7. Again, careful on the exit of turn 7 there. That is where you don't want to light those rear tyres up. Siege then on the hypersofts, trying to close in now on Sean as he now heads through turns 6 and 7. Again, on the run towards turn 8. 1.7 separates himself and Sean. Mays, meanwhile, 1.8 behind Siege. He has fallen away slightly, but of course, that's the compound difference there. Graham, meanwhile, is closing on Alan Kay as Crazy Legs gets a 5-second stop-go penalty and decides to call it a day. He had a chance of getting a point there, but has decided not to finish this race. Therefore, that point will not count anymore. And there's the Ferrari boys working on that car. Meanwhile, Spike then starts lap number 14. We have 5 laps to go here at the first race. 1 to go, of course. Still have the Austrian Grand Prix to go as Siege now makes his way towards the start-finish line. 1.9 behind Sean then, up in front. And it's been a remarkable race from Siege, starting at the back of the grid on those ultra-soft tyres. He's done a cracking job so far. Still 5 laps to go. Anything can happen. And then can he close in on Sean? He's got 2 laps older tyres than Sean ahead of him, which of course over a 100% race, that's 4 times. So you're looking at 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 laps is the difference. It's the real difference between those 2 tyres. So it's going to be a nightmare for Siege then to try and manage those tyres towards the end of the race, as well as close up on the gap. He's not going to give up on this podium, not by a long shot, as he picks himself up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles and actually loses time on Sean ahead of him. The gap's now 2.3 seconds. Lighty, meanwhile, on a fresh set of Hypersoft tyres with a new front wing, now looking to try and score as many points as he possibly can. Lighty making his way now down towards turns 8 and 9, right on the back of Blaster then, as Blaster goes around. Was there contact between himself and Light E there? Did they get too close for comfort? Not too sure from this angle. I'm sure we'll be hearing it more at the end of this race then. Spike then starts lap number 15. 4 laps to go. Running through turns 3 and through turn 4. As Spike now rounds turn 5 and towards 6 and 7 he goes. Remember, he's got that 3-second time penalty at least. Graham, meanwhile, is closing in on Alan Kay. This is for 8th place. Graham has the DRS open as he makes his way now down towards that chicane of 13 and 14. As Alan Kay loses the back end slightly. That's going to invite the pressure from Graham heading towards turn 1. Graham then making his way in towards turns 1 and 2. As Alan Kay looks to try and defend as much as he can. Of course, he just needs to get that car to the end. Of course, he'll score points. And so will Graham. So what's the difference here? Do they stay in the race and score points? Or try and go for as many points as they possibly can? Looks like I know what Graham's thinking. He wants that 8th place. He's not going to give up on it, that's for sure. So Spike then, lap 16 in the lead of this race. There's Recon making his way now towards the start line. 6.7 was the gap. What's it going to be as he crosses the line? 6.8, so he's losing time there. And then off screen you've got Alan Kay and Graham battling for position. It's Sean in 3rd with Siege in 4th, Maze in 5th, Lighty 6th. Having made 2 stops in this race. We've got Blaster 7th, Alan Kay 8th, Graham in 9th. You're watching this battle for 8th place then as they make their way towards that DRS zone. There it is, DRS is wide open now for Graham, but you can see how much further ahead Alan Kay is. He's got a car that's as slippery as anything down the straight. But Alan Kay defending that line. You can see he got a compromised entry into the chicane, and this is a perfect chance for Graham to try and find the way past. He's now going to go now around the outside of what will be turn 1. Turns in a little bit too early, almost makes contact with the Renault there, backs out of it. And both drivers are there to fight for another day. Down towards turn 3 they go. Down through turns 3 and 4. Graham here, right on the back. Or at least he wants to be right on the back of Alan Kay. Lighty picks up a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Maze is actually closing in on Siege here. I wonder if Siege's tyres are starting to feel the worst of it. He's having to be battling throughout the field to try and get to where he is now. Are his tyres starting to feel worse for wear as Maze starts to close in on him? He is in DRS range, but the DRS isn't open on that Renault. Does the Renault have DRS issues? Is he not able to open that rear wing flap? 2 laps to go then. There is Spike making his way through turn 7 on the run now towards turns 8 and 9. This is going to be hugely frustrating for Maze if he can't get that DRS working when he wants it to. This is going to be huge. At least it's not stuck open. That could be the worst thing when you're heading through some of these high-speed corners. Let's see if it opens here, and it does open. So Maze's DRS does work as he makes his way now down towards turns 8 and 9. You can see how much closer he is now. He's waiting for that perfect opportunity. Surely he's not going to try something at the chicane where the Wall of Champions looms. Down towards turn 11 they go. Maze then closing right up to the back of that Red Bull. As the Red Bull doesn't get the greatest exit in the world, that's going to allow Maze to have a bit of a run down towards the chicane of turns 13 and 14. Final lap of the race started by Spike. You're watching the battle for 4th then as they make their way towards turns 13 and 14. Here they go. Maze goes up the inside at the chicane and he's got the move done. Maze then moves up to 4th place. Great move from the Renault driver. Now he's got to defend all the way down the straight, down towards turn 1, and Maze then lets him have the position back. Well, I'm not sure that was in the script, but Maze has let Siege have the position back. Maybe Maze didn't think that was a fair enough move. Whatever the reason, the Renault driver has let the Red Bull back through. But we're riding on board now with Spike as he makes his way now through turns 8 and 9 as he heads towards the hairpin once again for the 18th and final time here in the Challenge Cup. And the 18th and final time for TTL F1. As the Challenge Cup comes to a close. Here goes Spike then, down towards the chicane for the final time in TTL F1. For the final time on F1 2018. TTL F1 will be racing here. Down towards the chicane we go. Spike makes his way through. Can he steer clear of those penalties? Let's see as he makes his way towards the checkered flag. Spike wins the Canadian Grand Prix and the first half of the Challenge Cup. Still one race to go. Recon heads towards the line. He'll finish in second place. The Haas of Sean, another podium for him as he makes his way now towards third place. Mays then pips fourth place. And fourth place is his, but then Siege gets it back on penalties. Maybe that's why Mays was letting him back through all the time. Lighty then making his way through the chicane. He gets himself another 3-second time penalty. And the German then loses control of the car and retires from the session. Timing screen is not sure what to do at the moment. It's putting him in every single position under the sun. But Plaster then making his way towards the line then. And it looks like then... we shall see. I don't know what's going on with the timing screens at the moment. I'll let you know in just a second. What I can tell you though is Spike has won the first leg of the Challenge Cup. One race to go though. So, race winner for the first round of the Challenge Cup. 25 points to his name. And he'll be able to take that away with him. Another race win now for Spike. He's on a bit of a roll now. And this will be all but good momentum. All but bad. Well, is that the right phrase? Anyway, it's good momentum for Spike then, as he wins the first round. Recon in second, and then Sean rounding off the podium. That will be his fourth podium of the season, unofficial of course. But yeah, I'm just as shocked as you at the timing screens at the end there. No idea what happened. It's classified Lighty as fifth, with Alan Kay up to fourth. I don't know actually, because Siege is 17 seconds behind. Oh, the timing screen's gone horribly wrong. Anyway, we can sort this mess out. Absolutely. Spike then wins race number 1. Recon in second, Sean in third. I'm gonna say that's gonna be Siege in fourth, Maze in fifth. Let's have a look at the timings then, because Alan Kay was 51 seconds, so that's gonna be Alan Kay. So Lighty doesn't finish, so he doesn't score any points because he didn't cross the checkered flag before the game retired him. So that will be Mays then classified as fifth, Alan Kay in sixth. That's what I'm going to call it anyway. Let's see. So, yeah, so Spike won that one. Recon in second, Sean third. Then it's Siege in fourth, Mays fifth, Alan Kay in sixth, Plaster seventh, and then Graham in eighth. That's what it's going to be. So... make of that what you will. So Spike then, what I can say is Spike now leads with 25 points ahead of Recon. So 7 points separates them now. What happens if Recon wins and Spike wins second? We have a 5-lap showdown. I think we have a 5-lap showdown, isn't it? That's what happened last time we had something like that. But anyway, we'll get to that when we come to it. Obviously, we're going to start up a new lobby, but of course, we're going to keep the stream running. So let's have a chat. If you're in the chat there, let us know how your race went. Unfortunately, won't be a commentator's corner tonight, so give us your messages now. Let us know how that race was for you. A bizarre end, that's for sure. One thing's for sure, though, is because Lighty didn't finish the race, he doesn't score any points. But, yeah... That's what we can make of it. Alan Kay on the screen was classified as fourth, but I'm sure he's going to be moved down to sixth place after that one, with Plaster in seventh and Graham in eighth, with Lighty not scoring any points whatsoever. I assume that's what's going to happen. And as soon as I get the invite for the next lobby, we'll go to a nice blue screen, and then we can go from there. Oh. So the Austrian Grand Prix is next, of course. And, well, there's a bit of debate as to how many corners there actually are. Some say 8, some say 9, some say 10. I go by whatever the F1 website gives you, and they say 10 corners. So there are 10 corners. One of them is the slight left-hander before the second braking zone, what some people call turn 2. I call turn 3, because that's what it says on the map there. You head then down the hill towards turn 4. You've then got that long right-hander, that's turn 5. You've got the 2 fast left-handers, that's 6 and 7. Slight right-hander out the exit, that's turn 8. And then you head down to Rint of turn 9, and then through the last corner at turn 10. That's the way I see it. If you see it differently, though, let me know. But there we go. So, round 2 should be underway very, very shortly. Hopefully we'll get an invite very, very soon. Very, very soon. I'm just going to let the blue screen go. Haven't got an invite just yet, but I'll wait patiently. I'll wait patiently. But we do have one more race on the cards. Spike saying Lighty and him touched into turn 1. Apart from that, he was very lonely. No, well, I'm sure the second race can liven things up for you, because if Recon wins the race and you finish second, then it's got to be dealt with. It has to be dealt with. So obviously, if Spike wins at the second race, he will be crowned the Challenge Cup winner of season 13. That goes without saying. And I've just received the invitation, so the screen's going to go blue for just a few seconds whilst I accept the invite, and then we'll go into the session. Hopefully it doesn't say can't join the session, otherwise that would be a restart. But no, it does. Excellent. Otherwise the stream would have had to be ended, which is yeah, not great. But we head to the Austrian Grand Prix now, and it is one of those tracks where you can say the hills are alive with the sound of whatever. When you say that joke about 12 times a year, it can get a little bit draining. That's the one word for it. But Red Bull Ring, previously called the A1 Ring, was taken off the calendar after 2003, I think it was. And the less said about the 2002 Grand Prix, the better, I think. But yes, taken off the calendar in 2003, made its return back in 2014, and stayed a staple on the calendar ever since, with high-speed tracks. You've got the ultra softs, super softs, and the soft tyres, I believe, for the Austrian Grand Prix. So we shall see about that, of course. Well, we've got in real F1, we've got the Monaco Grand Prix coming up, haven't we? Oh joy, oh joy! And people complaining about Spain and then no overtaking. Oh boy, they're in for a shock to the system. And that's the fizz. Aha, we have a new driver with us. Was that White? It is White. White has joined us for the second race. Now, unless everybody retires and Spike and White goes on to win the race, that's the only way he's got a chance of winning the cup. But it's great to see him in the second race. Let's see what he can do then for this one. I think we're just waiting for one more driver now. And I can't put my finger on who it would be. No, I can't think. Someone will tell me in the chat who we're waiting for. Hint, hint. But yeah, Siege then finishing in 4th place. He will be hoping. By the way, that is right, isn't it, guys? 4th place. That's how you're classifying it. I don't want to get it horribly wrong, and that's it. I'm going to guess Siege 4th, May's 5th. I guess. If that's the case, then. But yeah, the timing screens went a bit mad, didn't they, towards the end of that one? And I'll tell you why. No, I won't actually. I think you all can guess why. But yeah, timing screens just freaked out a little bit. But the timings are there, how many seconds they were behind the leader. So quite easy to then readjust it and go from there. But it looks like we have 12 drivers. I'm trying to think who we're missing at the moment. Let me get up the results of the last race and see where we can go from there. Have we got everybody? Well, White wasn't in the last race. I think it's Yuzi we're waiting for. I don't know if Yuzi is... I don't know. Yuzi, where are you? We're ready to go. Oh well. We'll have to, if worst comes to worst, we'll have to unfortunately race without the Scotsman. It's an all Scottish lineup, remember, at Toro Rosso next season with Yuzi and Graham. I wonder if any of them are going to pull out the Scottish lid design, the very similar one to David Coulthard, the Scottish flag on the top of the lid. Had that for years and years. Speaking of David Coulthard, I remember his last race in Formula 1 was at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Remember, he had like the charity, and it was like hundreds of thousands or thousands of different faces all across the car. So it gave this like white and sort of static feel to it. It's a great livery design, and it DC's race lasted for 3 corners. That's yeah. The less said about that, the better for DC. But it's not the one he wanted. But it was a glittering career, that's for sure. Now we head to the Austrian Grand Prix, and I think there's no other fitting way to end this season of TTL F1 than coming to a track of the calibre of the Austrian Grand Prix, especially on a day like today, when unfortunately we all woke up to the news, the sad news that Niki Lauda had passed away, the 3-time F1 champion who really made his staple at Ferrari and made his staple in the 1976 season, where just after 40 days after that horrific crash at the Nürburgring, he managed to fight his way through everything, through the physio, through the tar in his lungs and the extraction of everything. And he said, if I just lied there and thought about racing around, then that would have ended me. And 40 days afterwards, he returned to the Italian Grand Prix to the standing ovation of the Tifosi. And, well, the rest, they say, is history. He then went on to win the 1977 season and beat James Hunt as... well, it was a huge rivalry that then sparked the television coverage we know and love today. And, of course, the first televised broadcast, the first real televised broadcast was, of course, at the Japanese Grand Prix, where Niki Lauda refused to race. He went on to say in an autobiography years later that was one of the biggest regrets in his life, that he never raced against James Hunt towards the end of that season. But, of course, James Hunt secured that 3rd place that he needed to win his first and only championship. And what better way to give him the great send-off that he well and truly deserves than the last race of TTL F1 season number 13 to have qualifying here. Recon we're running on board with in the Williams as he makes his way now towards turns 2 and 3. The heavy braking zone in towards turn 3 is a perfect opportunity there for a good overtaking if you've got the inside line. See Recon locking up slightly then, now on the exit of turn 3, running now towards turn 4. The downhill part can really build up the speed then. And then it's a heavy braking zone down towards turn 4. Tricky as well. Very easy to lock the car up as you make your way now in towards turn 4. Recon uses that curve on the left-hand side. Very brave of them there as they now make their way now towards turn 6 and then through turn 7. You've got to be very patient on that throttle then as Recon uses all that track on the right-hand side to make the turn in as smooth as possible. Now on the run through turn 8, now towards the final 2 corners as we head towards turn 9 of Rindt, named after the only posthumous F1 champion Jochen Rindt. As we now make our way through turn 10 and towards the start-finish line. Has Recon done enough to grab pole position here? No, he hasn't. Light E in the Force India grabs pole position for the 2nd race of the Challenge Cup then. Recon puts himself in a good position here. He puts himself ahead of Spike. That's what he needed. But Light E, who did not finish the race last time around, he finds himself now on pole position for the Challenge Cup 2nd race with a 104.8. Well, look at that. 0.05 of a second. That's all that was in it. But look at that. Lighty on Ultra Softs, the softest possible tyre. Recon on a set of Super Softs. Spike there in 3rd. He's also on Super Softs with Sean in 4th. The rest of the field now on Ultra Soft tyres. Mays in 5th. Graham 6th. Alan K 7th. Blaster 8th. George Roberts in 9th. With Crazy Legs Siege for the 2nd time invalidating his lap. And White there, who's turned up for tonight in the Mercedes apparently. Obviously didn't get to select his car in time. But he then starts on the back row of the grid. Recon said, 1 mistake, should have had pole. I wonder where the mistake was, Recon. Was it locking up down towards turn 4? Or was it through turn 6, a little bit of understeer? Let me know. But we now head towards the Austrian Grand Prix then for the 2nd round of the Challenge Cup. Thank you so much for joining me. Season 13 has been an absolute blast with the commentary team that I've had. Recon, last sector, lost 5/10, had to back off the throttle. Well, half a second is a huge amount then, but it's enough then for Lighty to grab pole position on the Super Soft tyres. Of course, the Ultra Softs, the Super Softs and the soft tyres are available here for this race. 25% race here at the Austrian Grand Prix. Normally there'd be 71 laps half of that by the game standard is 36, so half of that will be 18. 18 laps here around the Austrian Grand Prix as the green flags wave for the formation lap, and Lighty lights up those rear tyres as he makes his way now up the hill towards turn 1. Watch out for this as you head through turn 1. It's a very narrow entry but a very wide exit. Encourages people to run wide and then punishes them for doing so. Lighty now making his way up towards turn 2 and then into the braking zone heading towards turn 3. This tight right-hander here encourages people to overtake up the inside, but of course it's a narrow exit that then widens as well, so it is a very tricky place to make the overtake happen. Down towards turn 4, again another opportunity to overtake after a DRS zone. Up the inside you could go, but then the track then encourages you to run wide, so on the outside there it's not a bad place to be through that right-hander there of turn number 5 as we head through 6 and 7. Not really an overtaking opportunity here, but a chance to follow the car behind through 6 and 7. Then you run through that fast right-hander of turn 8, again not an overtaking opportunity. Turns 9 and 10, big opportunity here to capitalise on people's mistakes. You can see the pit entry crosses over onto the racing line at turn 9, so you've got to commit to the pit lane well before the braking zone of the corner. That's why the white line starts so far down before the braking zone of turn 9. Any of the drivers that probably don't do it will be punished, that's for sure. Again, TTL F1 is brought to you by WeakWiFiSolutions.com, who sponsor the driver of the day that will be decided at the end of tonight over both races. It's also brought to you by A-Logo, who are on Twitter at A-Logo UK. They provide all the graphics for TTL F1 and looking to extend their partnership in towards season number 14. We're moments away then from the Austrian Grand Prix and round number 2 of the TTL F1 Season 13 Challenge Cup, as we're just waiting now for those 5 red lights to come on, and here they are, 5 red lights. Round 2 is underway, and what are the starts like? Looks like Lighty's got a good start. He then goes to switch off and cut off the Williams as they head towards turn 1. Can they all make it through in one piece? Then Lighty goes off the track, collects a bit of grass. That's going to compromise his exit, as we now see Sean there getting past Spike as they now head their way up towards turn 3 into this breaker zone. Lighty taking the inside line there, Recon around the outside. That's going to encourage Sean then to go up the inside, and Lighty trying to streak away. Meanwhile, Spike makes a little bit of contact with Sean then, running on board with him. They're running side by side down towards turn 4. There you can see the Williams now trying to go around the outside. No room for him there. Sean then trying to run side by side with Spike as they run towards turn 6 and 7. The fast left-handers here. Spike has the inside line. Sean has the outside line here, but he can't quite make that move stick. And Spike there in towards turn 7, parks it on the apex, nowhere for him to go. Oh, that's Graham and Mays there, almost coming together then, as we make our way now towards turn 9. As, well, that's unexpected. That's an overtake. As Graham then makes his way through turn 10. Meanwhile, White, who's apparently in the Mercedes right now, should be in the Haas, but never mind. It's the end of the season, we'll let him off. Siege then hasn't quite got the great start he did last time around. He's 10th place at the moment, heading up the way towards turn 1. We've got yellow flags in sector 1. Now who's that gone off? That's Recon off. Recon down the field now in 12th place with a huge chunk of front wing missing. He'll be devastated about that one. Meanwhile, Spike is doing all he has to do now. He's running ahead of his main rivals. Sean is one of them. As long as he finishes ahead now, he doesn't have to worry about Lighty. As long as he finishes, George Roberts is around at turn 3 as well, as the yellow flags fly out for him. Toro Rosso then taking an excursion off the track then. Meanwhile, the top 10 separated by under 10 seconds. Great to see at the early stages of this race. Lighty then on the ultra soft tyres, as you can see there, going through turn 8. Spike then on the super softs, and towards turns 9 and 10 they go then. Very quick lap around here. Siege then looking towards Alan Kay. Alan Kay defending that inside line, is he? Or is he? Yeah, he's defending that inside line through turn 9, then through turn 10, but runs very wide there. And that is Siege going straight through. Up to 8th place he goes. And Crazy Legs there now in 9th as they make their way up towards turn 1. DRS is now online, and White here, who has basically replaced Husey now, looking to score some points in the Challenge Cup. Obviously couldn't make the first race. Meanwhile, Crazy Legs here is going to have a go at Siege down towards turn 3. But locks up and decides not to go for it in the end. Mains Sean and White battling away here for third place at the moment as they will now head through turn 4. Riding on board with Maze now, heading through turn 5 and then through the left-handers of 6 and 7. Maze here has secured a move with Ferrari. It's going to be a move that comes with a huge pressure. As that is White then right on the back of the now Renault driver, future Ferrari driver, up the hill and down it towards turn 9. And Maze here looking to try and hold on, and he does. But White here looking to try and make that move stick. Driving for the Mercedes, it's a one-off if you like. Maybe it's a junior driver for the Mercedes team. You never know. You never know what goes on these days. Loan to Haas, that's a bit of an odd one. Lap 4 already then in the Austrian Grand Prix. Lighty here is being closed in on by Spike as they now head up towards turn 3. Meanwhile, White in the DRS zone, looking to try and make a move on Maze then. He wants to go round the outside. Maze defending the inside line. But look at White here, trying to do a switchback. DRS now comes online. And look at this then, even with Maze's DRS, White in the slipstream will be able to get up the inside in towards turn 4. And Maze here really try a switchback. He'll definitely try it on the run through turn 5 and then heading towards turn 6. Again, looking for that space, but it wasn't really on. So White then up to 4th place and running extremely wide. That's off the white line, surely. That's off the white line, White. Try saying that 5 times. Meanwhile, off stream then, Recon has come into the pits and he's put on a set of soft tyres. That will definitely get him to the end of the race. As we have yellow flags in sector 2. And who is that then? Siege is coming into the pits. That looks like it's quite early. George Roberts is in the gravel at turn 7. Or at turn 6 that is, as he receives a 10-second time penalty. Seemed a bit harsh as he was in the gravel. As George Roberts has now retired from the race. So he calls it a day. And that is a shame for him. Maze meanwhile then on board. Looking to try and get the exit of turn 3 spot on. Up ahead though, Spike is now looking to put the pressure on the German in the Force India. As they run through turn 5 now. Towards the double left-hander of 6 and 7. Meanwhile then White is looking to put some pressure on Sean. Sean then, who's got his move to Ferrari, having raced the season for Haas, scoring 3 podiums during the season. He's already got a podium today. He'll be hoping for another one as well. As they run now down towards turns 9 and 10. Such a quick lap here when you look at it. You know, qualifying times were in the 104s. We'll run aboard with White then as he heads towards the line. 107.3 as they now head up towards turn 1. And then they're climbing the hill again as they head towards turns 2 and 3. Meanwhile, then Crazy Legs and Plaza going side by side through turn 1. And Crazy Legs looks like he's got the move done. Meanwhile, then White and Sean battling away. White goes around the outside, Sean up the inside. Who gets the better exit? It's White. So White then up to 3rd place. Sean, though, will not be having that. He looks now around the outside at turn 4. Who's going to break later? Looks like it's going to be Sean. They run side by side through turn 4. They come very, very close, but no contact between the two of them. Great driving from these two. As Sean looks up the inside of turn 6, but White just does enough to park it on the apex and make sure that Sean can't have another look up the inside. So White then up to 3rd place. Sean in 4th. And that is going to hamper his chances of winning out today. But Spike in 2nd, so as it stands he will be the Challenge Cup champion of season number 13. He's already got a Constructors title to his name this season. He'll gladly take the Challenge Cup as well. Crazy Legs heading now in towards the last corner and trying to find a way past Plaza, that is, in the Toro Rosso. We're swapping cars everywhere here. These two are meant to be teammates, but Crazy Legs now up the hill we go, in towards turn 1. Blaster runs very, very wide there, and they're still running side by side. Looks like Crazy's got the better exit. Meanwhile, then Sean and White battling up ahead. We're going to stick with Blaster and Crazy Legs as they run up towards turn 3 here. And Blaster, can he try and get this move done? Can he try and get a switch back here? No, not quite. Meanwhile, Sean then uses the DRS down towards turn 4 to get back past White, and all that's doing is helping Spike get away from Sean. Remember, Sean here scored a podium. He's on 15 points at the moment. Recon is on 18 points. And with those points, Sean is going to be on 27 at the moment. Of course, with It's 15 points this time around. And, oh no, that's not right. 15 points last time around and 15 points this time around at the moment. But Sean then comes into the pits, as does Spike. As does Lighty, I should say. As they come towards the pit lane. The Force India in then wants to try and end this season with a win. And if it is his last drive in TTL F1 for now, he'll want to make it a good one. Rejoins in the Haas. As Sean then tries to get away. We've also got Maze in the pits. Lots of cars in the pits. It's a very, very busy pit lane. What that does, though, with 11 laps to go, is put Spike in the lead. White then is in second. 3.8 is the gap between them. That's Lighty, who's rejoined in third. Sean has rejoined in fourth. Maze is in fifth. Siege in sixth. Graham in seventh, or I believe he's yet to stop. Crazy Legs then is in 8th as he rejoins. Yet Plaster is in 9th. Recon then on the soft tyres is rejoined just behind Plaster. He won't have DRS this time around, but going down towards turn 4 he will. We'll try and make a move up the inside right now. He looks for it. He locks up in towards turn 3. Plaster leaves the door open and he just can't quite get the traction there. Stays in the slipstream with the DRS though on the run down towards turn 4. Plaster then defends the inside line. Recon goes for the inside line again. He just dummies the Toro Rosso here and he's got the move done. Plaster runs slightly onto the grass then, and Recon on a mission here is now up to 9th place. All the odds seem out of his favour right now, but he's not giving up on this one. Currently running in 9th place, 2 points provisionally he will score. Spike then running in the lead of the race, and of course if he finishes just in front of the likes of Sean and the likes of Recon, the Challenge Cup is his. He'll want to make it 2 from 2. But White behind, 3.7 behind. That's not too far back, considering they both have to stop. And there's the possibility of if Spike pits at the same time White wants to pit, they'll have to double stack. So that's the real issue we're here with White, is that he's at the disadvantage. Recon then making his way now up towards turn 3 here. A tap in front. Bit of contact made with Crazy Legs' wing. They run now down towards turn 4. Recon with the DRS open. Spike comes into the pits from the race lead. Recon now going down the inside at turn 4. Spike just about, Crazy Legs leaves just about enough room there. A little bit of wheel banging between the two of them as Recon then gets up into 5th place there. Through turn 6 he goes and takes away 8th place from Crazy Legs then. Aggressive driving from Recon, but he wants to try and get as many points as possible. Lighty then sets the fastest lap of the race. He's on those super soft tyres. Where does Spike rejoin? He's going to try and go flat out here. He rejoins behind Lighty then. A second is the gap, so Lighty's gained a little bit of time on Spike behind him, but Spike now is on ultra soft tyres. He's got to do 9 laps on them now. Crazy Legs meanwhile gets away back past Recon through turn 1. He had to go around the outside for that one. He'll have the DRS though on the run through turn 2 and up towards turn 3. And Crazy Legs there back ahead of Recon. Recon meanwhile, will he go for a move down the inside? No, he waits for the DRS. A little bit of locking from the rears there. You could see the car was just a little bit unstable in the braking zone. Now it's Recon's turn. Once again heading down towards turn 4. Will he go for the inside line? Once again he will. Switches as late as he possibly can to use that slipstream up the inside, and he takes the position away from Crazy Legs once again in towards turn 4. Meanwhile then White comes into the pits from his race lead. He'll look to put the ultra softs as well. Let's look at this then. Spike running as close to Lighty as he possibly can then on the run up towards turn 1. And Lighty will want to be bowing out of TTL F1 on a high with a race win if this is his last race. He's not on the list for reserves. Let's look at that then. Sean just rejoins ahead of White. But White here is looking to throw a spanner into Sean's chances as they head now down towards turn 3. Round the outside he goes, and Sean tries to shut the door. He does so successfully, and White then can't quite get the way through. Meanwhile, Spike then tries to go around the outside at turn 4. A little bit of contact between the two of them there. And does Spike try and go for this overtake and try and take the race win? Or does he just try and play it cool and stick behind Lighty? That's all he's got to do to take the Challenge Cup. Meanwhile then White and Sean battling for position then as we head through turn 6 and then heading down towards turn 7. Again Sean sticking behind White for now, can't quite find that move. Meanwhile then Spike is going to go for it round the outside of turn 9, is he? Lighty commits to the inside and keeps a hold of the corner then. So Lighty is defending really, really well then as we head on to lap number 12. 7 laps to go. You can see then Spike in the slipstream pulls to the left-hand side. Up the hill towards turn 1 they go. And Spike then takes the racing line into turn 1 and he takes the lead once again. Lighty though has the DRS as we now head through turn 2 and towards the braking zone of turn 3. Will he try and move then up the inside? He's going to go for it, launches it up the inside, contact made, and Spike then has to run wide. Lighty takes back the position and he takes the DRS as well, heading now down towards turn 4. He's made that move late, of course. The DRS detection point is before turn 2, that's how early it is. So it's before the braking zone of turn 3, so you can always go up the inside and then just use the DRS to try and get away from whoever you've overtaken. Down into turn 4, but Spike's not giving up on this one. He's now going through turn 7 there. You can see how hard he's pushing on the limit here. Through turn 8 we go. Up the crest and then down it towards turn 9. Lighty defending that inside line, switching then towards the racing line. As Spike then looks to do everything he possibly can to try and take this race win. As they cross the line, it will be 6 laps to go. Spike here with the DRS again. Lighty defending the inside line. Spike having to go around the outside. Then they make contact in towards turn 1. A little bit of debris came off there. Not sure which car. It might have been Spike's then as he weaves left and right. That's probably in frustration as he looks to try and get past Lighty. Then into the DRS zone we go. And towards turn 3, Lighty. Oh, they make contact again. And Spike goes off. That looked like Whitey then and Spike came together. And I don't think Spike's going to be too happy with that one. Weaving left to right once again as they head down towards turn 4. Now what's going to be happening here? Is Spike now going to have to try and hang on to this one because White's right behind him. Sean is in 4th. He's 2 seconds back from Spike. I remember looking at it on the stream here. They did make contact going into turn 1. A bit of wheel banging out of there. And then they headed up towards turn 2 and 3. Spike was weaving left and right as they made their way up the hill through turn 2. Spike was on the outside as they head towards turn 3. And I don't know, it looks like Lighty just misjudged the braking point there. Meanwhile then White gets ahead of Spike then as Spike struggles with that front wing. 5 laps to go. Sean is there. But Spike knows now that 10 points separates himself and Sean there as both Lighty and White take the same line and pick up the same 3-second time penalty. As Spike here is maybe using his teammate as a little bit of a buffer towards himself and Lighty. He's saying, well, it's your turn to have a go at trying to pass Lighty here. So that's exactly what White's going to try there as we head down towards turn 4. White then sticking behind for now. Meanwhile, further behind, Recon here is now trying to go round the outside of Graham in towards turn 3 here. Runs a little bit off the track then. And it has been a tough Challenge Cup for Recon. He's done the best he possibly can, that is for sure. He's not given up on this one. Currently running in 8th place and now trying to fight for 7th. White then, right behind Lighty then as we head up the crest and then down it towards turns 9 and 10. And Sean here is dropping back from Spike as well. So Spike's doing the best job he can. He's doing all he can right now. So Lighty and White, according to Spike, are just not in this championship battle. There's no point in fighting them anymore. Up towards turn 1 we go. We have 4 laps to go here in Austria. As White then opens his DRS and looks into the slipstream of Lighty. Through turn 2 they go. Lighty defending the inside line. That's White then moving to the left-hand side. Towards turn 3 they go. White is around the outside as Lighty looks to slam the door shut, but he can't quite do it because White was still there. Now with the DRS then down towards turn 4. They run side by side. White still on the outside as Lighty takes the racing line, and White then takes the lead of this race through turn 4. And Lighty then drops down to 2nd place. Meanwhile then Spike is once again looking at the Force India. Now I wonder if there is damage. Yes, I think there is on the right hand side of Spike's car on the front wing. That looks like a little bit of damage there. Meanwhile then Recon has found a way past Graham then. He's up to 7th place in that Williams. White then making his way through the final corner and looking to just run away now to try and take a race win. 3 laps to go then. There's Lighty in 2nd. There's Spike in 3rd. As it stands then, Spike will be the Challenge Cup winner. He's got to get to the end of this race now without making any mistakes. He's building a gap on Sean. Recon is down in 7th. And White and Lighty did not take part. in the first race. Well, Lighty did, but he didn't finish, so he didn't score any points. So Spike here knows now that the only battle now is between himself and Sean. He doesn't have to fight for second place, but knowing Spike, he'll battle for this position, I think, down towards turn 4. As Crazy Legs here has gone up the inside of Graham at turn 3 and has made that move stick then. As Graham then will have the DRS down towards turn 4. Let's have a look at this helicopter cam. Watching Spike and Lighty negotiate through 7 and 8 as they head towards that double right-hander of turns 9 and 10. You can see there Spike just looking to... is he looking to stay back? Is he looking to just follow Lighty to the end of the race? Does he want to try and make it another McLaren 1-2? Or a Mercedes 1-2, I should say. Spike in the DRS zone of Lighty as they head towards turn 1. He's going to go for it out the inside of Lighty then. The Forcino runs wide. Nowhere for him to go. And now Spike, is he looking towards the right-hand side? He is. It's going to become the inside line towards turn 3. As Spike then, this is going to be a tight steering angle for Spike in the Mercedes. He'll have to get the traction zone right now. It looks like he's got it. Spike then up to second place. Not over yet though, as we head down towards turn 4. Lighty now has the DRS. Spike does his best to defend the inside line. Lighty has to go the long way round. A little bit of contact there between the two of them. As Lighty now tries to switch back. Up the inside of turn 5 he goes. They leave room for each other now. As we head towards turn 6, Spike has the inside line. Understeers with that front wing damage then. And Lighty, there's just nowhere for him to go. Up the inside now through 7. Just about enough room as we head through turn 8 now. Very close between these two then as we head towards the final lap of this race. Round the outside of turn 9. Is he going to make that stick? He can't quite do it. Down towards turn 10. Oh, runs into the back of Spike. Now he's got front wing damage. Now into the DRS zone. Final lap of the race then. White has started it. He's now 3.1 seconds ahead. Lighty heading towards turn 1 here. He knows now he's got the DRS zone up towards turn 4 here. Turn 3 I should say. Up the hill, you can see now, he's got the DRS. Is there any way to put the car? It has to go around the long way, has to go around the outside through turn 3. Spike then up the inside, and look at that then, parks it on the curb, so there's nowhere for Lighty to go. And Spike still holding on then to that second place, as Lighty tries his best to get past. Down towards turn 4 they go. Lighty tries to brake as late as possible, but that may have been his last chance as he runs onto the gravel. Onto the gravel and the exit of turn 4 there. That may have just been his last chance to redeem something in this race then. They've been battling hard here. But White then, who didn't take part in race number 1, is looking like he's going to win a race in a Mercedes. Who saw that coming? He makes his way now down towards the final corner. White then is going to take the checkered flag and win the second race in the Challenge Cup. He wins then. But it is Spike who comes across the line to win the Season 13 Challenge Cup. A fantastic day for Spike then. He does fall down the order. Sean then finishes in second. That's 18 points. Spike down in fourth. That's 12 points. So that does mean Spike has won the Challenge Cup. And that is going to be Sean who will finish in second in the championship. That's not by many points, by 4 points to be exact. Spike has won it by... Well, that draws the curtain down on what has been a fantastic season. And it's ended with Spike adding another trophy to his cabinet this season. It may not have been a trophy he was aiming for at the start of the season, but he's certainly got it now. The Challenge Cup will be his by 4 points. And Sean continues his great form. Second place, it looks like, in this championship. He fought hard to the end. But it is Spike who is champion, the Challenge Cup winner. Well, there he is then. White is on the podium and wins the second race and will take home that trophy. But Spike is the Challenge Cup winner. He's not on the podium. That was Sean then who did his very best. Spike, of course, had that 5-second stop go that was added to the end of his race. He dropped down the order. But that will do it then. That is the end of season number 13, and I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's been joining us for the season. A massive thank you to the owners for letting me into the comment box every single time I can. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, season 13. I wanted that unofficial tag. Unlucky for some, lucky for one. That was my unofficial tag. I don't think it caught on, but Never mind. I just want to say a massive thank you to Andy and Tej as well for being such great guys in the commentary box. Always fun to work with them both. And I look forward to working with them in season number 14. Next on the calendar then, next week. You have to wait a whole 7 days before there's any action involving F1 drivers. Remember, TTFL, I believe, have their Challenge Cup last Friday, I think. So if you want to go back and watch that one, please do. There was 3 rounds there. I believe it's the Street Circuit Challenge. It was his unofficial title, but that is the Challenge Cup then. So go back and watch that one. Some great racing there as well. And Saturday as well is the Project Cars one. I believe it's the Renault Megane Cup. So that is Andy. He'll be commentating over that one, so do join him for that one as well. Well, the next time you'll see me is behind a wheel in TTG F2. Remember, TTG F2 is on a Tuesday night at 8 PM. TTG F1 will be on a Thursday at 8 PM. I'll be in the commentary box for F1 and behind the wheel for F2. That all remains for me to say now. If you're not following the league already, follow them on Twitter at TTL_F1. You can also follow me on Twitter as well at KSMCGF1. Massive thank you to everyone for racing in season 13. It's been thoroughly enjoyable. I've enjoyed every second of it, and I have to now close the curtain and say congratulations to Jack on the Drivers' Championship. Congratulations to Mercedes, that's Jack and Spike, on the Constructors, and then congratulations to Spike on the Challenge Cup trophy. That's all from season 13, and all that remains for me to say is thank you for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.